Hello everyone. In this video we will be discussing about the generics in Java. So here the generics are which helps you to enable to write a code that can handle the different types of data. Means here the types refers to the different types of data. Sometimes integer, sometimes string, sometimes double, sometimes floating point. Like that we can have the different types of data, right? Whenever we are creating a class with its fields of integer type where we can store only integer type of data. If I have to create a class for separately where I have to store the string, I have to create separate fields of string type or something like. But here generics helps you to create a template which can accept any type of data. We can have classes, generic classes, we can have interfaces which can accept different types of data. For example, array list. While creating an object of array list, we write integer within angular bracket. Means that particular data only we need to store. I'll show you with example program. But before that, have a look here. There are two types of generics are there. Generic class is there, generic method is there. Both I am covering in this video. Okay, let us get back to the code. I was telling about array list, right? How we create array list? Array list integer k equals to new array list. Like this we create an array list. Okay, look, observe here why I'm talking about array list here. You have written integer here. Means as the array list class or generic type, it is particular about what kind of data we are entering. Here the generic type we are writing integer. Means now this object can accept only integer type of data. If I write string here and this k object can accept only the string type of data. With the help of generics, what happening here is we should be specific to one particular data type what we are mentioning here, right? So we can have our own classes also. Array list is not the only class where we use generics. We can have our own classes also. I will show you. Let me create a class sample. Look here, template parameter. This T is going to help you to create uh, an ID, all these things. Whatever the fields you are creating, ID. I'm not using int ID here. I'm not using int ID. I'm not using string name, all these things. I'm just writing TID. Along with that, let us use some parameterized constructor for setting the ID and toString method for returning the values. Okay, we will write this small code. How can we set the ID by using parameters constructor? Public sample, and within bracket also you see here TID only I am writing. I am not writing int ID, and this is comma. This dot ID equals to ID, and one more method I am writing. The method is toString method. Public void, no, toString method, right? Public string toString, and returning only that ID. Return plus ID. Look here, in the PPT I have told like there are two types of generics are there. Generic class, generic method. Very first I am talking about generic class, where I have created ID with template parameter T, and using that I have created a parameterized constructor where for setting the ID, and toString method for returning the value to the object. Okay. So now look at this particular class name. What is the class name? Sample, right? So normally if my class is sample, how I create object sample k equals to new sample. This is how we create the object of a class. But this is not the normal class, it is what generic class. What I'm doing here is I'm going to use angular bracket here, and I need to mention what kind of data I'm going to use. Integer type. What kind of data I'm using here? Integer type of data. And as why it is showing error is I have created a parameterized constructor. To this id I need to send the value. Okay, as I'm writing the data type as integer, the class of integer type. Now let me send only integer value. Okay, now just print that object system.out.println and print that object. The 23 value will be written. 23 is going to be printed. Now for the same sample class, look at, instead of string, sorry, integer, instead of integer I'm going to write string, and obviously I need to pass what? String. And now object names cannot be same, that's why let me give some new name. System.out.println z I am printing. For the same class parameterized constructor, one time I am sending integer type of data, generic, as we are using generics, and I am sending using the integer class. This time what is the thing I am using? String. That's why for the same parameterized constructor, this time I am sending what kind of data? String type of data. This is both type of data can be sent. This can happen with only with the help of generics. Now see here, in 23 is got printed, India also got printed, right? So this is generic class. Now I told like second model, like generic method also will be there. Here itself you can create the same using same template. How you create object? Public void show, right? This time instead of writing public void show, use the same angular bracket and write p system.out.println, and here let us write id, and let me print here id. Now I have created a generic method. Now let us see how we can pass the data. As I have created object of integer type for the sample class, using this I can call k dot show method. I am calling. This time I am sending the value 45. 45 to the method show. It is not integer type. You are using template, generic template parameter type t I am using here. Now you said 45, 23. You know how you got 45 is the value you got from the, what is that? Generic method. And the same for the show method. This time I am calling k dot show method. This time I am sending uh, Andhra Pradesh. This time I am able to send string to that particular method show. We got it. Means here this is about generic class and generic method. Here the purpose of generics are, if you are creating a generic of particular type, generic classes, generics are very particular about what kind of data we are using here. As we have mentioned integer, it should be integer values only to be provided using this object. Now if it is string, integer type of data only, string type of data only to be provided. So here, if any error is there, we can find out, I mean, data type issues are there, that we can resolve during the compile time itself. If generics are not there, if you are providing different kind of data as not as per the data type what you are using, like for integer type is not using, we will get runtime errors generally. But if we have generics, we can identify those mistakes, data type mistakes, what we are input, what we are providing, that we can identify at compile time only. So at runtime we will not be having certain issues. Okay, so this is about generics. I have a code, just simple. I have created a class sample with template T. Using that I have created an ID. You know this very well. You are just parameters constructor. Using that you set the ID value. To string method you have done many times, many examples. The same thing I have done. And this what generic method. Again, this method can take any type of data. Now, very first I have created object k of integer type. That's why I have provided integer value only. And after that, I made a call to template method also by sending the value 45. And the second time, I am taking the object of string type, and I am going able to send the details to the parameters constructor. I am sending to India, and I am able to print India. And after that, I am sending the same string message to which method? Show method. The show method is accepting both. Your parameters parameter constructing also accepting both. This can happen only with the help of generics. Hope guys you understood what generics is. Okay. So thank you.